Well, this is just about it. You can see our countdown clock there. It kind of feels like a second New Year's Eve around here, but this one kicks off voting in the state of New Hampshire and really writ large for much of this country to find out what people are saying in the first votes that will be cast. You can see packed house here. We're looking live in Dixville Notch. We're in just a few moments, less than 2.5 minutes, the first 6 votes of the New Hampshire primary will be cast.
You can see more journalists there than voters. A lot of buzz. You can feel that energy in the room. The midnight voting tradition goes back more than 6 decades in Dixville Notch. And of course, it draws reporters from around the world looking at New Hampshire to get the very first indication of who the voters want to see in the White House. Thanks for staying with us for our start of our New Hampshire Votes coverage. I'm Monica Hernandez.
And I'm Steve Botari. I mean, this is the moment after months of rallies and the town halls and the diner stops. It all comes down to this for the presidential candidates, the very first votes that will actually be cast. WMUR's Ray Brewer is live for us in Dixville Notch. And Ray, you can see all the people there. Plenty of anticipation here as the countdown's on.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. Right now, the moderator, Tom Tillotson, is explaining the process to the members of the press and also the public that have assembled here, explaining who the 6 voters are as well and what the process will be. Now, there is a little bit of a change from the past. In the past, they used to fill out the ballots ahead of time and then just drop them in right beginning at the stroke of midnight. Now the rules and regulations have changed, so they can't fill out those ballots until 12 o'clock. So that will be happening then, and Les Otten, the gentleman that you see standing there with the blue vest on, he will be casting the first ballot here. There are 4 Republican people, and then there are 2 undeclared voters who will be casting their ballots. We're about 20 miles from the Canadian border, so you would think that this is generally considered Trump country. However, 5 of the 6 voters went down to see Nikki Haley at Bretton Woods after she got back from the Iowa caucuses. So we'll see if that made an impression. In past years, candidates who have journeyed up here to Dixville Notch, it has made a difference, most notably in 2004 when General Wesley Clark brought his campaign to Dixville Notch, even for the vote. And he ended up with 8 votes there, the most of any candidate here for Dixville Notch. It hasn't always paid off that way. For instance, back in 1996, Ronald Reagan made the journey here to Dixville Notch. Still, Gerald Ford defeated him 11-4 votes in that case. Reagan going on, of course, in the following election cycle to win the presidency. So here we are now just waiting, and right now it's midnight in the polls, and so you see Les Otten, he's getting checked in right now on the checklist. There all of those 6 names. Now, this is a tradition when the primary is concerned that goes back to 1964. Midnight voting actually started in 1960 in Dixville Notch when Tom Tillotson's father, Neil Tillotson, decided that he didn't want to journey to Lancaster to make that long trip to vote. So then they started the midnight tradition here. It's a tradition that nearly came to an end 5 years ago, or was broken with, as they only had 4 registered voters, and the Secretary of State said they needed 5 in order to hold midnight voting, and they did find that 5th vote, and so the tradition continued. And so now we're just about a little bit away from that first ballot. You can see Les Otten coming out there, checking it, making sure, and then the moderator, Tom Tillotson, whose father, you can see the first vote is in, and now Tom will go and take his ballot. So that's the situation here. The voting is underway in New Hampshire.
The first ballot and the first in the nation primary now has been cast after the stroke of midnight here in this 6-decade-old tradition in New Hampshire. 6 voters here, and of course we are all watching, as the world is, to see what these voters do.
And, you know, as we watch this here, we got the 6 voters, and it appears a dog as well. I believe a non-voting member there of the party up at midnight there in Dixville Notch. Ray, we were talking earlier about the fact that there used to be several communities here in New Hampshire that voted at midnight, Dixville Notch just being one of them. You know, we had other places nearby that did. Essentially, any place with under 100 voters could get permission to open their polls at midnight and then close them as soon as all the registered voters did so. But this year, Dixville Notch is the only one doing so. So what's your understanding of what changed in those other communities?
Well, part of it was aging. Millsfield and Hart's location were the other two locations that traditionally held midnight voting. As a matter of fact, Hart's location first started it back in 1948 as a result of the railroad workers there so that they could get their voting in before going on their shift. But talking to a town official earlier this month regarding Millsfield, they just said simply that the population is aging and they didn't want them to get out around midnight. And in Hart's location, they just decided that, well, it wasn't as convenient for everybody there. So they're going to hold more traditional hours from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And of course, you know, these 6 voters, we've got the world watching. We've got journalists, we're seeing them live there from around the world, Ray, and really more journalists there than voters. There's a lot of buzz in the room. Can you talk about just the energy in the room as these first votes in the nation are being cast? And just, you know, some people might wonder, why is so much attention paid to 6 votes? Talk about that. Talk about this ongoing tradition and why this is so important and kind of that splash, really creating that buzz for the first in the nation primary for the rest of the country.
Yeah, that is it, Monica, and Adam Sexton just talked a little bit about that as well. The fact that this can set a tone, and so the morning newspaper around the world and around, as we do have journalists from around the world here, and around the country and around New Hampshire will be saying somebody has now leading the New Hampshire primary, and whether that can have some effect, the spillover effect down further south in the state, we'll see. As far as the results go from Dixville Notch, they don't always give an indication of what's going to happen later on. Just look back to the last election cycle. Michael Bloomberg won Dixville Notch with 3 write-in votes. He didn't even campaign here, but he did call Les Otten, who cast that first ballot. Les Otten wasn't sure it was actually Michael Bloomberg calling him, but it turned out it was, and he ended up writing in Michael Bloomberg. 2 others followed as well, and there were only 5 votes cast last time around. The other 2 votes went to Bernie Sanders, who ended up winning the primary, and Pete Buttigieg, who ended up finishing second.
And Ray, you mentioned Les there. You know, we have a quote from him. He said, even if the spotlight wasn't there on Dixville Notch, they would still be doing the same thing, meaning this midnight voting. They take this tradition very seriously. I mean, the Boston's been up there since 1886. And part of the reason it gets all this media attention was the fact that the media outlets could file their stories back in the day when they needed telephone lines. The hotel had enough phone lines, they could all do it at the same time and report in the results, and that's why Dixville, over some of these other communities, got all the attention. But talk about the sense of tradition and the seriousness of which these voters take this responsibility as the world is watching.
Yeah, it is something they take very seriously, and you can see something of the tradition just on the walls behind the voters there. You can see some of the photographs and obviously the big sign there, Dixville Notch, New Hampshire, first in the nation. This is something that used to be held at the hotel there, but the hotel closed to the public back in 2011. There are plans to resurrect it, and the hope is that maybe the next time this comes around, they'll be casting those ballots once again in the hotel, but we will see. But it's definitely something that they feel a sense of pride and honor, and something that they take very seriously, studying the candidates, as do most Granite State voters. You know, there's that old saying that, you know, reporter asks a voter what they think of the candidate, and they say, I don't know, I've only met him 3 times. So, you know, there's that sense. But once again, nobody came up here to Dixville Notch, but 5 of the 6 did go down to see Nikki Haley, and we'll see if that portends anything when the votes are tabulated. And it should be in just a little while. And we have another one of those non-voting dogs entering, Steve, that you were talking about. So.
And we should be seeing those results pretty soon, as you said, Ray. And, you know, the Balsam's undergoing a massive $300 million revitalization project, we should note here, because they do have the hope that Dixville Notch will grow. The number of voters will grow from 6 to many more as that project wraps up and business is back open and busy, because, of course, they'll need workers. The workers will need to live nearby. So 4 years from now, this could look different. This could
Monica,
have the same
polls,
amount of
if
buzz.
I can just interrupt
Sure.
just for a sec, the polls are just closed. The polls have just closed here. So now they're opening the box here. And I need to correct myself. This is a box that's not from 1960, but it actually was a box commissioned by the current governor's father when he was governor and given to Dixville Notch here. So they're getting the 6 ballots out and they will begin the tabulation. The voting is over.
And of course, we'll look forward to seeing
see
what
the
that
notes.
tabulation is as the rest of the world is looking to see what those first 6 ballots cast will be.
And right here, Ray, I mean, what we're seeing is the perfect encapsulation of the fact that there are paper ballots. Everyone is seeing democracy out in the open. And you were talking about that earlier, that there's no concerns about any kind of voter irregularities here. It's old school. It is democracy at its purest right here.
And some of the people who have come from around the world to see this, the first vote is cast or tabulated for Nikki Haley. We don't know if that was the first vote cast, but that's the first vote tabulated for Nikki Haley.
All right, one
And
out.
they said they just want to see him.
1 out of
Yep.
6 at this
Go
point.
ahead, Steve.
Yep. So Ray,
Right.
as you hear him, let's just tell us what we're hearing.
Another vote for Nikki Haley. So that's 2 votes for Nikki Haley.
And you had mentioned, Ray, that they
Another
went
Republican
to see
ballot.
her.
Yes, 5 of the 6 did, yeah. Nikki Haley, clean sweep so far. Three votes for Nikki Haley.
Results coming in quickly.
Make that 4. So it'll be interesting to see what the undeclared, it looks like everybody took a Republican ballot. So make it 5 out of 6 for Nikki Haley.
Yes,
The question is, can she going to be a clean sweep?
Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley, 6 out of 6 for Nikki Haley. So even though we would normally think of this as Trump country, it's 6 out of 6 votes for Nikki Haley. And so she is now leading the New Hampshire primary. We'll see how long that takes, how long that stays up. So they're now writing the votes. They're on the board.
The first 6 votes in the nation going to Nikki Haley. And as you mentioned, Ray, 5 of the 6 voters in Dixville Notch did go to see her at one of her campaign events last week, and apparently that made an impact on them.
It did, Monica. And the 6th person I should mention, had COVID and couldn't attend in person, but did attend by COVID. And it has made a difference in the past. You know, certainly we mentioned the fact that back in 2008, General Wesley Clark came up here, and he actually campaigned up here and was up here for the vote. And he had 8 votes to John Kerry's 3 back then. Kerry, of course, would go on to win the New Hampshire primary. On the Republican side, George Bush had 11 there in 2004. So, you know, we can see, or excuse me, H.W. Bush there had 2,000. I'm sorry, all the excitement's getting to me. It is George Bush, I'm sorry, in 2004. Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned there
All
were
right.
4 registered Republicans, 2 independents, but all went for Nikki Haley. We also have with us here political director Adam Sexton. Adam, you were saying the Haley camp was really hoping, you imagined that this would be what occurred because it just creates that forward momentum in a race where she needs as much momentum as possible.
Every little bit helps, right? And here we have, there'll be a headline in the morning. It'll say, hey, Nikki Haley sweeps Dixville Notch. You know, like we mentioned before, John Kasich was able to parlay that into at least a talking point, you know. So this will give them a little something to talk about during the day and generate a little bit of excitement. You know, whether it has an impact on the outcome at the end, who knows? But you know, in the little flash in the pan that we see here from this is probably exactly what she wanted. She'll get those headlines, she'll get the attention, and we'll see what she can do with it.
Yeah. How often does Dixville Notch indicate the way the rest of New Hampshire will go?
I think it's been a while, although maybe usually you see these split sometimes, you know, where they'll vote in the Republican and Democratic primaries, but this time all on the Republican side. So since it's been a low number of voters, you know, especially with Bloomberg last time, it kind of maybe diluted the impact, if it had any, on the race. But, you know, we'll see on this one. Like we talked about before, there are a lot of undecided and undeclared voters out there. Maybe let's see this headline and get motivated to vote for Nikki Haley. But again, she faces, if the polls are to be believed, a significant deficit to Donald Trump, potentially double digits. She's got a lot of work to make that up, but anything is possible in New Hampshire until those polls close.
All right, Adam, we'll see how it goes. And once again, here are the first results from Dixville Notch. All 6 voters cast Republican ballots, and Nikki Haley won all of them. No one voted in the Democratic primary.
And now it is up to the rest of the state once the sun rises. Polls open in some places as early as 6 a.m. The last cities and towns close at 8 p.m. To get the exact hours for where you live, we put a link for you on the Secretary of State's website. That's WMUR.com. We put the link to get your polling place and also right inside the WMUR app. You can also see the location of your polling place and review sample ballots.
And we will have coverage of the First in the Nation primary all day long tomorrow. It starts with the News 9 Daybreak at 5 a.m. You can stream our coverage all day long on our website, the WMUR app, and on Very Local. And our extended election night coverage will begin at 8 o'clock tomorrow night as we receive the returns around New Hampshire.
So, we have our first votes.
They're in.
Game on. All right, thanks for joining us here tonight for a special edition of News 9 Tonight.
And join us all day tomorrow for complete New Hampshire primary coverage.